All right. Welcome to Come Follow 33, your faith journey podcast. I'm Ted Thomas.
And I'm Peter Grogan.
Well, how you doing, Peter?
I'm excellent.
Doing well?
Yeah. Feeling good.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
You want to kick us off with that amazing sponsor you have? I saw that shirt. I made kind of a funny comment about it earlier today, so I thought it would be good for you to share.
Ted said, "Wow, that is a very loud T-shirt you're wearing."
Yes,
of course, when you're seeing it from the front, that doesn't make any sense.
You should show them the back. Show them the back.
Yeah, we'll show you the back.
Then they'll all agree with me.
All
like you
right,
got to stand up, get in the camera.
Can you see the back?
Oh yeah, there he is. Time for coffee.
It's that Chip. That is the Lion and the Lamb Coffee Roasters in Costa Mesa, California.
Okay.
A faith-based coffee house. They have very good coffee. They also have merchandise. They have food, and they are attached to the church right there in Costa Mesa. And unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the church, but we'll make sure to post that.
The Lion and Lamb Coffee. They'll Google it.
Lion and the Lamb Coffee Roasters, Costa Mesa. Great staff. It's attached to the church. There's a little area there where they can sit and do some work. There's even some conference rooms. There's some prayer rooms that are attached to it as well. And just kind of stumbled across it. It's a couple blocks from my work. My son Dustin works with me too, and we've been on walks and we came across it, and I was like, Lion and the Lamb Coffee Roasters. How cool is that?
Name.
And I asked the girl, her name is Cameron. I asked her, I said, so is this just accidentally called the Lion and the Lamb? Or she goes, no, it's we're attached to the church and it's faith-based. And I was like, wow, that is so awesome. So, want to just give them some props.
Maybe you're in Costa Mesa and you're like, hey, I want to support another Christian company. And There you go. You can get some coffee from them. It sounds like they roast their own, so you can get some to go, or you can go and get a cup, right?
Yep. Yeah, they sell bags of their own coffee. They have some really, and one of the unusual things is they have some really cool, unusual coffees. Like they have one that's like a chocolate banana flavored coffee.
Oh, wow.
They've got a toffee coffee. They got a chocolate covered strawberry flavored coffee. I think there's like this whole list of custom, like fancy foo-foo coffees.
Cool. Well, check them out.
And a super friendly staff. They're awesome. And it seems to be a very hip, young spot to hang out in. So
you didn't fit in?
Feel very old there.
But you're plugging them, so they'll be happy about that.
It's a great place. So check it out. Lion and the Lamb Coffee Roasters. If you're in Costa Mesa or if you just anywhere near there, go check it out and tell them that Come Follow 33, the your faith journey podcast sent you
there. Yeah, there we go. We'll get a little plug back if you go there. All right. Well, cool.
Right on.
Well, today's episode is episode 11.
Wow. Here we are, 11.
Number 11.
Yeah. Our second 10.
Yeah, our second 10. Yeah. We started working on what's our next 10, and our topic today is this radical generosity.
Yeah.
And how can we be generous people with our times, talents, and treasures? And kind of also looking at, how sometimes that can be challenging, right? So I think about generosity, and I think I co-led a class about generosity and being, if all that we have, if we put it in perspective, that all we have comes from God, that we are just stewards of all that he's given us.
Right. And I think that's, I think what comes to people's mind immediately is, money that I'm giving. But I mean, that's not really what it's all about. I mean, of course, finances, being generous with finances is one thing, but I mean, generosity can be, many, many things that you give of your time, you give of your finances, you give of your property. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do to be generous.
Yeah. Let's start with our money though. So one of the questions is, do we view money as our own or something we are managing for God?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
That is a very good question.
When we think about, I earned this, I've done this hard work to earn this money.
Yeah.
I think there's some part of us that automatically wants to say, I own this. I worked for this. I created this. I'm entitled to all the blessings of this money to do it with it how I want. Versus if you think it makes me think of like an analogy of like a bank manager, where I worked in a bank for a long period of time. And it's like we were just managing the money that was there,
Right. It's
right?
not
It
yours.
wasn't ours, right? There was so much there, and that mindset shift between I've created this, I deserve this, versus no, God's gifted you
Hmm.
certain ways to earn the money, right? He's
Sure.
he's he's provided. If he is the provider, he is the one that's given us the job, and therefore we are to be stewards of that money that he's given us. And it kind of maybe there's an opportunity maybe for some of our viewers to think about money in a way a little differently.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think that you are correct. I think that also in that same aspect, you have been given the ability to decide not to earn money. So some people will, but not to make an argument, but
Tell me more
I
about that.
no, no, no. I'm just saying that it's kind of like that whole free will.
Hmm.
You've been given free will to either make something of yourself and earn a good living and raise your children and have something to leave for them, and you also have a choice to say, well, I'm not going to earn that money and not have something for my children and something to leave for them. And of course, you don't leave it all. I mean, there's a portion of that money that you're going to use for specific things, and obviously being generous with others and being generous with your church. And but I mean, I guess I guess I don't know where I stand on that, because I understand what you're saying and I agree with you, but then there's another part of me that's saying, hey, you got to work hard to be able to have something and to be able to raise your family. I mean, especially these days, you got to work hard to have food and to have gas for your car, to have, and there's not a lot of leftover.
Right.
There's not.
Yeah, I think where we live has something to do with that too. Like
Correct.
we are in a bubble of where we live, which is very expensive.
Yes.
So you either have to make a lot or you don't have as much discretionary, but we still have quite a bit, right? Even compared to the world, of course. But I think one of the things that's a challenge is this fear of not having enough that we have this fear of not having enough, and that prohibits us from being generous, especially as we get older. Like, okay, hey, when am I going to get to retire?
Yeah. Because I'm going to need to hold on to this money because I'm going to need it.
Right. And
Yeah.
therefore, I hold back on actually being generous and giving to causes that feel like, hey, these things are like, I try to get behind like my personal thing is like, okay, how is this honoring to God with the money that I give? Like some of it is for me, it's been a process. So I want people to understand like there's people that struggle just to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Right. They
Yeah.
but then there's others that even if they're struggling to make ends meet, they need to be wise with it. But like, are they giving? And the Bible talks about the first fruits. Is there anything that they're able to sacrifice, right? To give to
Sure.
the Lord? Like, hey, I think it's to go from I don't give at all to anything to saying, hey, what is it that I can give that is a sacrifice? And God loves a sacrificial giver. Like I'm willing to sacrifice something that maybe I need to give up. Maybe I don't
Right.
want to say coffee, but maybe it's
Well,
something, right? Like, hey, this extra thing I'm going to give because of
yeah.
the benefit that it might have to
You
others.
don't need a $6 coffee. You
Right.
don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fact. So it's like there are other ways if you have to have your coffee.
Mhm.
So yes, you could make that sacrifice, especially when, there are a lot of people who have done their finances and found out what they're spending at Starbucks,
Right.
and not to pick on Starbucks, but that's usually what comes up. And it's like, wow,
Mhm.
financial advisors tell people, see what you could have done with this money.
Right. You
Not
could
to,
have
you
invested
can
or
do
you could
anything
have,
that you,
yeah.
you can do anything with that.
Yeah.
But that relates to this as those coffees could have gone, you could have been generous with that money.
Yeah. And I think there's we're talking about generosity, but I think it's good to understand like, hey, people who are in a community of other people that have like values may need to sacrifice something for the betterment of others,
Right.
right? And
Yep.
say, hey, this is going to help this person that's in need, or this sacrifice, I hope, is being used to build the kingdom.
Right.
Right. And then that's kind of called a tithe. Typically, that's what that is. And then there's kind of this, even on top of that, an offering. And that might be something where, hey, I'm giving to this cause because I feel like this is a thing that God's calling me to do. And then this offering would be above and beyond that, that says, hey, I have this other cause. It's not directly tied to the church, but it's still something I want to support. And I'm being generous because I believe in, like, I'll give an example. I don't know why the name's coming away from me, but our pregnancy help center, right? So this is where, hey, they give out free ultrasounds, right? So it's
Hmm.
helping mothers that may not have the money or the means to kind of have this opportunity to learn about what's happening, that the baby, where it's at in the life cycle, you
Right.
know, and that's not directly tied to a church, but it's a way to support life,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, I'm for life and promoting pro-life. Therefore, that's something I would give as an offering above and beyond what I
Yeah.
would give to, even though they are a Christian organization." So, yeah, I know we're talking about different things, but I think it's good to think about how we utilize our money in ways that is generous. And when it says radical generosity, it's like, okay, how can I give? That money is one way, right? Another way might be, we talked a little bit about it, is your time,
Yeah.
right? You might be limited in financial opportunities, but you might
Right.
have more margin with time, especially if you're single or you're like,
Yeah.
for us, our kids are getting older. I'm not an empty nester, but I have more time.
Right.
So therefore, I have the margin to give of my time for the causes that I believe in, right? So it could be radically generous with my time.
Yeah. And I think at the top of the show when I kind of said it's not all financial. I mean, although that's the first thing that people think is yes, that's a lot of what people who are not of large means. I mean, you give your time, you volunteer in any way that you can, or donating, some things that you have that are no use to you anymore that will help other people.
Mhm.
People donating cars, doing things like that. And I think that that's obviously very generous. And I think I would call that radical generosity.
Right.
I mean, it's doing what you can, even when you really, you kind of feel like maybe you can't do it, but you're going to do it anyway because it's going to help others and you're not really going to be depleted.
Right.
You know,
Right. You're giving
we all
something
have
that's
too
sitting
much
in your
anyway.
shed, right?
Yeah.
Say that again?
We all have too much anyway. I mean, not all, but I think many of us have too much. It's like when Valerie and I, moved out of our house and bought the mobile home, it was like, we got to get rid of a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot. We can't even,
That was just sitting in storage, right? You
yes.
weren't
And it
even
was just like,
using
oh,
it.
we're going to keep this in case someday we need it. And we did not need it.
Someday never
And
came,
so
right?
we
Yeah.
donated. I mean, I don't even know the number, but we had to have donated half of what we had in that place. And it was still, I mean,
Yeah.
you filled the shed. It was
But that's something, it
filled.
relates to being generous that didn't involve a checkbook, right? So I had
Right.
some time.
Yeah.
An example is, hey, somebody, the church is moving, and you know, it's going to cost a lot of money for them to move
Hmm.
potentially. So I could give my time to say, hey, it doesn't involve money, but I could be radically generous with my time because, hey, what's that take?
Right.
It's not very, you don't need a lot of talent to help somebody move. You just
Right.
need warm bodies that can help put things in. Obviously, there's some talent there. You need to have some physical ability, but it's pretty low on the threshold.
It is.
That was
No,
one of
no,
my
no.
jobs, was becoming a mover. And it's like, well, if you can work hard and you can pick
Yeah.
things up, you can pretty much help people. And
Yeah.
what I'm going at is, there's many things that are uh, really just your time, like just showing up. Like
Yeah.
it might be, helping out babysitting.
Right.
Somebody who needs a babysitter is like, oh, I can watch a show with them. I can give of my time in ways that help others, uh, and be generous with that.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, even though I sounds like I'm giving an out to if you're not young or old, like in the middle, there's time for you to be generous. Like we tried to be generous with our time by saying, "Hey, have your kids come over and spend the night over here so you can have a date night."
Yeah.
Or, creating a co-op where it's like, "Hey, one week I'm going to do this and the next week you guys take my kids, babysit," like,
Yeah.
or something like that. So I think there's a lot of different ways. I
Yeah.
cut you off there. Anything else about
I
generous
don't
with your time?
remember. No, I think what I was going to say was that, you offer your time and you offer your help, say helping someone move or doing whatever. It helps them, number one, but number two, it's just, there's always great stories and, things that come out of that.
Right, building
Yeah,
relationships,
you have
right?
relationships. I mean, I helped the Russells move,
Mhm.
what now, a couple of years ago, I think. And
Yep,
it's like I barely knew them at the time.
right,
And I got to know them that day. Like it was crazy. Like all
mhm,
of a sudden I know these people
right.
and
That's
I
a
know
good
some of
point.
their friends and it's we have this story to go back to. And there was laugh. I mean, there was some pretty fun things. I mean, I worked really hard that day
Yeah, I
because
wasn't there. I was out of town on purpose, I think, that weekend. Said
it
Peter could do it.
was I didn't know what I was getting into because it was like we got there and I was like, wow.
Well, that's good though, like,
Yeah, but it
thinking of
really was
"Hey,"
because we're
I
friends now. I
yeah,
mean, he and I are friends, and that day had a lot to do with it
mhm.
because I got to
That
know.
one time that you put yourself out there to do something,
Yeah,
I think there's twofold, right? One is like, "Hey, I'm gonna give of something, not expecting anything in return."
right.
But then God returns stuff to us.
Yep.
Like, he returns this relationship that gets built. You actually get to I really like these opportunities where you spend more than just a dinner out.
Yeah.
You get to spend a little bit more time where you get to actually get to know people.
Yeah.
Because I think, "Hey, let's go out to dinner." It's an hour and a half, 2 hours, you're eating,
Yeah.
you're talking a little bit, but actually doing a job or work. We did something helping out one of the widows of the church,
Hmm.
and this is gonna kinda go into the next thing is saying, "Hey, maybe we all have some God-given talent,
Right.
and those talents could be something that you could be generous with."
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you might not have all the money, you might not have all the time,
Right.
but everybody has some talent,
Something. Yeah.
right? That they can give of themselves to be generous towards others, right? And that might mean even on those work days, okay, I'm not the best painter, but I can help paint,
Exactly.
right? I'm not the best at this, but God's given me enough talent to be good
Yeah.
enough.
I can do the cutting in, and you can roll.
Right, exactly.
So-
Or I can go get the paint at Home Depot and
Yeah.
pour it in and make sure everybody
Exactly.
and keep it clean, right? Like
Yep.
it takes a village
It does.
to
You
do
you know what?
things.
You should use that. Go-
It takes
Takes
a
a village.
village.
Yeah.
I
That's
use
your
that
saying.
probably you probably hear it more in a lot of different contexts, but
Yeah.
I'll also, I mean, like at the church, hey, you're using your gift of singing, right? That's a talent that God has given you.
No.
Obviously, you worked on it some, but
Yeah.
it's still a talent.
No, and it's also a way to really feel involved
Mhm.
because I think I was telling you while we were eating, it was like the energy that I felt and I don't even know the right word. I mean, I just felt so involved yesterday and such a part of everything
Mhm.
that it was like, it was overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah, it was
It's
awesome.
almost like this is my place.
Yeah.
This is my people. When you give of yourself, of your talents, and you're saying, you know what? Most of the time, there's a saying, actually, at our last men's retreat, one of the key principles of defeating kind of some giants was show up.
Hmm.
Just show up.
Yeah.
Like that's part of it is like, okay, showing up means, okay, maybe I might, you had to come a couple hours early,
Hmm.
but serving at a church typically is showing up 15, 20 minutes before everybody else. And maybe you help out for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, typically not even 2 hours of helping out once a month,
Yeah.
right? And that gives somebody else the ability to go in and worship
Right.
and hear the message because you decided, hey, because a lot of people, I've had this situation. People are very generous with their time and their talents and their treasures and their money. But I found sometimes people use that so much they don't even go and worship.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm giving to the Lord and this is my worship service. And that's not healthy, right? To just say
Right.
every week I'm going to serve,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to go to church. I'm just
Yeah.
going to serve in the church, right? And it required, and because some of it's like, hey, I love doing this. I love doing this part of service, but they're not getting fed either.
Right.
So I just want to encourage people to think through like, wow, if I'm not in some way um, using my talents in the body, because we all have different talents. That's the other thing. That's like they talk about the body, right? The eye, the ear, the nose. If you think about the body of Christ as different
Yeah.
things, they all have different functions. And the body doesn't function correctly unless all of those gifts, all those things are being used properly.
Correct.
I'm just thinking about this radical generosity that there's this balance between those 3.
There definitely is, because I mean, Valerie will volunteer
Mhm.
and, she works with some of the kids. And, it was a couple of weeks ago. She was like, I haven't been in service in like 3 weeks
Right.
or something like that. It's just like you were saying. And, and that she really, really missed it,
Mhm.
and it was like, and it's kind of funny because yesterday I saw her and she was sitting where we sit, but I was up there singing. And I could tell that she was very, very happy to be there
Mhm.
because, I mean, like you can serve the Lord, you can praise the Lord and worship the Lord, but I mean, sometimes you got to be there, in church. Like you said, you got to show up. I mean, being part of the whole community is huge.
This kind of you've kind of answered this question. It's
Okay, well,
the
we'll go back.
joy of
Yeah,
radical generosity,
yeah,
right? You're explaining this. Hey, yesterday, or maybe it was yesterday for you. It was a couple weeks ago. I got to do middle school, right? The
right.
joy of giving of myself actually made me feel richer,
Yeah.
than I would just any other thing, right? Like, um,
Well, even when a couple of times I've helped pack the truck for camp,
right,
and it's
mhm,
like that's kind of an unseen thing,
right,
no one knows,
no,
but that's fun, and it is fun. I
mhm,
mean, it's a lot of work, but
right,
it's fun, and again, I mean, it's relationship building. You meet people. I mean, I've met people that we were helping pack that I've never even seen in church,
right,
and it's like, oh, I created relationships in that. And it's fun. I think that I'll always do that because I think that's a really, it's obviously it's generous because you're helping, and no one wants to do that, or
mhm,
most people don't want to do that, but it really is fun. And you leave there going, that's nice,
yeah,
because what if we didn't do that? What if nobody volunteered to do that?
right.
Man.
Then there'd be 3 people. There's always a lack of volunteers, let's face it.
Yeah.
Like, in every church, I'll give a shout out to our ladies. Women step up quite a bit,
Hmm.
and the men need to do just the same. And when there's opportunities, you can find ways not to get involved, or you can find ways to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can spend a couple hours." And then I think part of this showing up is the blessing you get back. The
Yeah.
blessing of not only this relationship, you laugh, you find out something, you laugh with one another, you're
Yeah.
encouraged that, hey, we're doing this together. I think there's that whole thing of, we talk about this podcast. If you don't come on Mondays, I'm not doing it by myself. I need somebody else to be with me. Otherwise, I just won't.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's that part of that relationship building. Again, our God of, you know, relationship, sending his son to be generous in our lives to show us what true generosity is, that he gave his life for us, right?
Yeah.
He left a legacy of 12 apostles, right? That picked to spread the gospel, right? And we'll use Paul as the 12th, how it's spread throughout the world and still being spoken about
Yeah.
thousands of years later. And that's part of our podcast. I'm going to probably give a little plug here, right? To think about how Come Follow 33 is about come following Jesus, this man Jesus who lived for 33 years and led this generous, perfect life that we want to follow
Right.
and we want to emulate by hey, if I think about how generous he was, it's not hard to be generous.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the sacrifices that we've made are nothing in comparison,
Right. Exactly.
really. I mean, when you put it into perspective like that, you really can't help but say, okay, there's so much more I can do.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, let's face it, none of us are going to give up our life for anything, but we're going to do more because there's so much more that you can
Right.
do.
And that's our compass, right? The
Yeah.
compass that we talk about in our logo, right?
Right.
Is that's the North Star that we follow. And we're following him because he led this generous life of giving to us. And then in turn, we want to give to others and
Yeah.
we want to bless others and be able to point to him. I think one of the things with generosity, sometimes people, if it's the generosity is so that you get the glory, that's all the glory you're going to get,
Right.
right? But if the
Yep.
generosity is that he receives the glory, I do this because of Jesus. I
Hmm.
want to encourage people, even when you give of something. I had somebody, just ask for gas money at the gas station,
Hmm.
right? And it's like, I do this in Jesus' name.
Right.
I give this because of Jesus, not because I'm a good person, because of him. I want you to know that, hey, I do this because I follow Jesus, right? And I think that's the means by which we can be generous is to make
Sure.
sure, as I said, if people don't know why you do something, they think it's because of you, and then you become the God
Right.
versus
Yeah.
pointing.
Yeah. And you also have to just, I mean, part of that is hoping that if you're ever in that situation, that you hope that somebody will feel the same way and do the same thing in Jesus's name.
Yeah.
It's like, not doing something good in hopes that someone will do something good for you, but just what I mean is that you just hope that that will, pay forward, I
Mhm.
guess. It's like
Yeah.
someone else in the name of Jesus will help somebody else.
Right. And that's our reliance upon, hey, we do this today, knowing that Jesus is the one that provides for us, that
Hmm.
we've been given so much that we're to be good stewards of that, and that we live today with what we have and we be good stewards of it with our time, talents, and treasures. So I hope in this episode, as we're talking about it, that people will kind of look at all three of those because I think it's important to not just pick one. Or maybe you are somebody who is like, I'm really good at giving of my time. So therefore, I don't need to be generous with the other two. And I think there's a balance between the three. Like we think of even with the money, right? There's a widow story of a widow who gave her last two pence, like a just little bit amount. And there's this other guy who's giving all his money, right? But he had so much more. And she gave all that she had.
Right.
And that's what God's looking for. He's looking for this obedient heart, right? Like whatever you have that you're being sacrificial and giving to the Lord of your times, talents, and treasures. He's not looking for, hey, wow, this person gave $1 million.
Right.
I was at an event one time and it was really interesting because it was actually a fundraiser. And the speaker said, okay, when you were coming to this event, you had some amount in your mind that you were going to give.
Right.
Like you and your wife kind of worked this out in your mind. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Right. And he kind of challenged to say, is that really sacrificial giving? Right. Like he even used an
Right.
example of somebody wanted to give him $1 million. Right. And he
Okay.
said, no, I don't want that money from you. I want you to think about really what would be something that's sacrificial. Right.
Right.
And the guy wrote him a check for 12 million
Okay.
because that was
That was a sacrifice.
that was a sacrifice for him. Not that he was trying to raise more money. It sounds kind of like he's trying to be a salesperson,
Y-
but the point is give that it's sacrificial. It's something that like, hey, this is not just extra. It's not just my extra. It's actually something I'm thinking about that will actually, of all three things, I'm going to sacrifice my time. Like I could be doing something else. I'm going to sacrifice my time. I could be giving more, or I could actually sacrifice something that'll cost me something
Right. And
versus just I can write a check and it doesn't even mean anything.
right.
Right. It's like, oh, there's an extra. That's a good deed I did. Right. And it's not actually what God is asking us to be good stewards of. If we have a lot, we give a lot. If you have a little, you give a little, but you're giving what you have.
Right. Yeah.
Generosity.
Makes sense.
Hopefully, again, our people who are watching this take away something, and maybe there's that question that comes up, with somebody about generosity. Maybe there's something in a conversation, a spiritual conversation you might have with somebody, and it
Right.
has to do with your life. You share your story, you share how you've been able to be generous with your time, with your talents, or you invite some people into that, like maybe that's a way, hey, can you come help with this project I have with my neighbor who needs some help, right? And you invite somebody into that to show them generosity,
Right.
right? It's maybe not a way to preach the gospel to them directly, but to show them, hey, why are you doing this?
All
Oh,
right.
because this God I follow is so generous.
Yeah.
The outpouring of his generosity in me compels me to be generous with other people. And that could be an opportunity as we think about different ways of being radically generous with our time, talents, and treasures. I said that too many times, but
You say it so
it's a
well,
work in
though.
progress.
Yeah, you
What's
say
that?
it really well. Yeah, it's no, it just rolls right off the tongue. I
It
was
is
gonna
something
say,
I'm working on too. I mean,
yeah,
that's the other thing. Disclaimer, full disclaimer. I'm not as generous with all three of those. I'm a work in progress. As I'm walking that out, and as we talk about these things, there's some conviction. Like,
yeah,
how could I be better at that? Right? How could I continue to grow in that area? That's an area we'll talk about again. Sanctification, set apart to be more like God. Becoming 1% better, doing things that make you more and more like Jesus.
yeah, yeah. That's an awesome thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say about the $1,000,000. That would be a huge sacrifice for me.
Yeah.
I just wanted that to be known.
Just let me
That would
know.
be a huge sacrifice.
Okay.
So
Well, we could really upgrade this place if you would
if
sacrifice.
I could sacrifice $1 million,
We would have better sound and everything like that.
so what I would have to get $1 million first,
Okay. All
and
right.
then yeah,
I thought you had it laying around like in the
no,
back of your car or something.
yeah. If that was the case, I would not be sacrificing it.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
like, oh
true.
yeah, I've got that laying around.
You got
So
that laying around.
no, it's really really good good thoughts here on this radical. Yeah, I mean the word radical is like it really kind of puts it into perspective.
Yes.
Like radical generosity. That's awesome.
All right. Well, there is a book called Radical. I'll give that a quick plug as well. It talks about not only generosity, but also your life, like and how you're following Jesus. And maybe that's on another episode. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot more episodes coming.
We have plenty.
Yeah. We're
So
just getting started. This is only 11,
yes,
you know?
we'll see how many before we get into that one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, that's going to be a wrap for today. If you're okay with that, unless you had any final words or thoughts that you wanted to throw out
No,
there.
you said that you're a work in progress. I as well, am a work in progress. We don't have a lot, but I think that we can give more than we are. So definitely need to work on that.
Yeah. Again, that's what we're trying to. Part of this show is talking about how to walk out this journey, right? And being honest about where we're at and what we aspire to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're here. We're not by no means do I got it down. I might have some of the principles just with walking with the Lord and having other people and reading and stuff like that, but that
Mhm.
doesn't mean I'm actually killing it in all three of those areas.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we're always working on something.
yep, exactly. Well, that's going to be a wrap for this episode. Want to say thank you to all of our viewers. Do want to give a quick plug to say, hey, if you like this, please like and subscribe on YouTube. We're also on Spotify. You can find us. Please share this with some folks. Like we want this to be kind of a opportunity for you to share Follow 33 with other people and give them an opportunity to learn. As each week, we're going to have topics that talk about how we're following Jesus and how we can walk that out. And hopefully you can use this as a way to encourage other people to either join us. Maybe they're walking with Jesus, or maybe they're thinking about following Jesus or following God and they're not quite sure. And maybe one of our topics, we do put descriptions. They can look at our YouTube or Spotify, see kind of descriptions of what the episode is all about and pick one and, go ahead and share it with people. And then I think the other thing we talked about is having people circle back. If you refer to somebody, circle back and see if they were able to listen to it and what they got out of it, and maybe that
Yeah.
helps you with some conversations.
And maybe encourage them to share it as well. I think that's how something like this gets off the ground. And again, I mean, we're not in this to become millionaires. I mean, if we did, we would donate it.
Yeah,
But
we'd have that million to
we'd
give.
have that
Wouldn't
million to
that
give.
be incredible?
It would. Well, it would be. Of course, it would
Yes,
be.
it would
but,
be.
but my point really is that we want this to spread. We want people to see this. We want people to hear this and share it with friends and family and coworkers and colleagues, and just get the word out and use this podcast as a tool and to kind of get people involved, get them interested, and then have them share it with whoever they can share it with, and so on. And I think, and so on, and so on.
Yeah, it's kind of a one, invite one person to do it.
Yeah.
If you listen to this, share it with one person. You never know what that one person, the example that I always talk about was somebody was Billy Graham's Sunday school teacher,
Right.
right? And she shared the gospel with Billy Graham,
Right.
and he shared it with millions of people.
Yeah.
And you never know who that person is.
Exactly. So, and you never really know how thirsty somebody is for this kind of knowledge. So just don't be afraid to suggest it to somebody, to bring it up, to talk about it. And just one more plug for Lion and the Lamb Coffee Roasters. Check them out in Costa Mesa. And if by some strange chance somebody from Lion and the Lamb Coffee Roasters is watching, say hello.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That's a wrap.
All right.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye now.